He pushed his wife to save himself from a sinking cruise ship. But the reality is priceless. A cruise ship met with an accident at sea. On the ship was a couple who, after having made their way to the lifeboat, they realized that there was only space for one left. At this moment, the man pushed the woman behind him and jumped into the lifeboat himself. The lady stood on the sinking ship and shouted one sentence to her husband. The teacher stopped and asked, "What do you think she shouted?" Most of the students excitedly answer, "I hate you. I was blind." Now the teacher noticed a boy silent throughout. She got him to answer and he replied, "Teacher, I believe she would have shouted, 'Take care of our child.'" The teacher was surprised, asking, "Have you heard this story before?" The boy shook his head and said, "But that is what my mom said to Dad before she died to disease." The teacher lamented, "The answer is right." The cruise sunk. The man went home and brought up their daughter single-handedly. Many years later, after the death of the man, the daughter happened to read the diary of her father. It turns out that when the parents went on to the cruise ship, the mother was already diagnosed with terminal illness. At the critical moment, the father rushed to the only chance of survival. He wrote in his diary, "How I wished to sink to the bottom of the sea with you, but for the sake of our daughter, I can only let you live forever below the sea alone." The story is finished. The class was silent. The teacher knows that the students have understood the moral of the story, that of the good and evil in the world. There are many complications which are hard to understand, which is why we should never focus only on the surface and judge others without understanding them first. Those who like to pay the bill do so not because they are loaded, but because they value friendship over money. Those who take initiatives at work do so not because they are stupid, but because understand the concept of responsibility. Those who are willing to help you do so not because they owe you anything, but because they see you as a true friend. Those who often text you do so not because they have nothing better to do, but because you are in their heart. One day all of us will get separated from each other. We will miss the conversations of everything and nothing, the dreams that we had. The days will pass by, months, years, until this contact becomes rare. One day our children will see our pictures and ask, "Who are these people?" At that time we will smile with invisible tears and you will say, "It was them I had my best days of my life with." Simon was a curious boy. He was fond of reading adventure stories. He lived with his grandfather. One night, he stealthily entered the storeroom where his grandfather kept his priceless antiques. Simon knew his grandfather did not like anyone to touch his rare collections. Once inside the room, Simon stood on a chair. He lifted the box wherein his grandfather had kept many wristwatches bought from different countries he had visited. While getting down from the chair, Simon's elbow struck against the chair. The box slipped out of his hands and fell onto the floor. All the watches lay scattered all around. To his utter shock, he found the glass of his grandfather's favorite watch broken. Simon got frightened lest his grandfather should come to know about the broken glass. He started picking up the pieces of glass. Simon thought, "How will I tell my grandfather that his favorite watch had got broken? He will be angry with me. If I do not tell him, he will not come to know about it." Simon got nervous. His heart started beating faster. He put the broken watch back into the box and placed the box back on the shelf. Afterwards, he went to sleep. He tossed and turned in bed. He could not sleep in peace throughout the whole night. The next morning, Simon got up early. He gathered courage to go and admit his fault to his grandfather. Reaching his grandfather's bedroom, he told him everything. The grandfather looked thoughtful. He did not say anything to Simon. He went over to the storeroom. Simon kept standing with his head down. Having returned from the store, the grandfather said to Simon, "I felt very angry when you had broken my precious watch. Your grandmother gifted it to me on our first wedding anniversary. But you need not worry. Only the glass is broken. I shall have it replaced." Simon felt relieved. After some time, his grandfather went into the kitchen and bought a glass of milk for him. While giving the milk to Simon, his grandfather said, "It was brave enough of you to tell me about the broken watch. You knew that I would scold you, did not you?" Simon said, "I was scared at first. But I dared not tell a lie. I should not have touched your things without your permission." Simon's grandfather further remarked, "When I was at your age, I also broke my mother's precious flower case. I was scared to own up my mistake. But, when I went to confess, she said that she already knew about it." Moral: it is brave to admit your mistake. You may be scared of being scolded. But it is the only way for you to be free from guilt. Jessica was an intelligent girl. She lived with her parents and loved them very much. Jessica's parents used to quarrel with each other over household matters. Jessica remained sad because of this. One afternoon, she returned from school and she saw her aunt sitting beside her mother on the dining table. They were engrossed in a deep conversation. "Hello, aunt." Jessica greeted her aunt. "Hello, Jessica," replied her aunt, embracing Jessica. Seeing her aunt, Jessica felt extremely happy. Jessica's mother went into the kitchen. Jessica took her aunt to her bedroom and made her sit comfortably on the bed. Jessica wanted to ask her aunt many questions. But she feared lest her mother should come to know about it. Holding a book in her hands, she was lost in deep thoughts. Should I bring the quarrel to the notice of my aunt for a better solution? If I do so, I shall incur the wrath of my mother. She might not want me to disclose family secrets to others. With great courage and determination she spoke to her aunt. "My mother and father had a quarrel last night. My mother is very upset. I want to help my mother out. My father's rude behavior causes great sufferings to my mother." Jessica's aunt said, "Are you scared of their quarrel?" Jessica replied with a sad voice, "Yes, aunt. They quarrel all the time. Sometimes, they shout at me without any reason. Have I done anything wrong?" Jessica's aunt held Jessica's hands out of sympathy. Her aunt said, "Do not get frustrated. Everything will be all right. However, I shall discuss the matter with your mother." Jessica's aunt further remarked, "You have done nothing wrong. But you were brave enough to tell frankly your family problem to me. You need not be afraid." After a little while, Jessica's aunt asked her for a piece of paper. Holding it in her left hand, she said to Jessica, "I am writing down my telephone number on it. Whenever you face a family problem in future, give me a ring at once." Jessica's heart lightened hearing the sympathetic words of her aunt. She smiled and thanked her aunt for this loving gesture. Before going back home, Jessica's aunt talked to Jessica's mother and made her understand the intricacies of a husband-wife relationship. A few months later, there was a dispute again between Jessica's mother and father. Immediately Jessica grew restless. With the hope of bringing about a solution, she made a call to her aunt. Moral: if things go beyond your control, it is always wise to request your elders to find a solution to your family problems.